Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. I'm kind of doing another sort of book to movie adaptation kind of video. However, the subject matter of this video is not entirely based on a book, or at least not a book in particular. So it'll be really hard to do any kind of comparison between the book and the movie when that subject matter is Fear Street. Now I do have a copy of the first 4 books in the Fear Street series by R.L. Stine, and there are 3 Netflix movies, I think, that are sort of based on the world that R.L. Stine has created in the Fear Street books, but not exactly from one book in particular. So this is going to be a more casual video and a sort of vlog style video compared to my From Book to Disney adaptation video that I did, which you should absolutely check out because I love that video, I'm not gonna lie, I love it. Someone's got to. So instead of having that big analysis of each of the movies and the books, I'm going to be trying to do a sort of Fear Street themed reading vlog. If you do not know what Fear Street is, it is a series of books written by R.L. Stine, where each book kind of deals with a different storyline, a bit like the Goosebumps books, which is a series that I adored as a kid. I've never ever read the Fear Street books before, so I don't really know a whole deal about what they're about, but I do know they're kind of like teen mystery slash murder mystery slash paranormal. I think this is set in, well, Fear Street, but I think it's called Shadyside, like that's the town. And then the street's called, I don't know. So I'm gonna not make outrageous claims. So I'm going to shut up now. But I'm hoping once I've started to read the books that I'll get a better sense of the series in general. So what I plan to do in this video is to read all 4 of the Fear Street books that are in this collection. I believe these might be the very first 4 that were released way back in 1989. And then also watch the 3 Netflix movies. So what I might do is read the first book in this collection, watch one of the movies, read the second book in this collection, watch another one of the movies, read the 3rd book in this collection, watch the 3rd and final part of the movies, and then read the 4th and final book in this collection. So the 4 Fear Street books I'll be reading are The New Girl, The Surprise Party, The Overnight, and Missing. I know absolutely nothing about what these specific books are about, but hopefully I will really enjoy them like I enjoyed the Goosebumps books. I do know that these are definitely older than the Goosebumps books, and there is more like death and gore and violence than in the Goosebumps books. So I'm expecting that, and I'm hoping that I will still adore this series as much as I adored Goosebumps. So I want to get settled, I'm going to make something to eat, I'm going to read The New Girl. I mean, saying that though, I want to finish this and watch the first movie tonight. It is already 9:30 p.m. I think we can make it happen. I'm usually up until 3 o'clock in the morning anyway, but I think we can make it happen. If not, I've already failed. How's about that? I do not understand. I don't understand. I finished The New Girl and it was a very interesting read. I was intrigued throughout. I had a little bit of a roller coaster with it though because I wasn't too sure what to think about it. And there is a huge plot hole that I think I'm right on. To say what the plot hole is, I'd have to spoil it because it's to do with the twist. And so I will do a spoiler-free part of me talking about The New Girl and then a spoiler-filled one. I'm so confused. I mean, it's a good story. It was a good story. It's very obvious from the very beginning that the new girl, Anna, is dead. I don't think that's a spoiler. I think that would tell you on the back because literally from the very first page, Anna is dead. And then, you know, we follow Corey, who is in... was it Shadyside High or something like that? It's the high school in Shadyside. And then he sees Anna one day and Anna just takes his breath away. Like, she is so beautiful and nobody else really seems to know who she is. And, you know, for a time you don't know if anybody can actually see her but Corey. But yeah, Corey describes her as being very ghost-like. And then Lisa, who is Corey's best friend, she says that she's seen her and that she is ghost-like. So there's just so many references to Anna being a ghost. But it's not really, like, suspenseful or anything. There's no tension there because, well, everyone knows it. Everyone knows Anna's dead. But Corey himself as a character is very creepy. not gonna lie, he's really creepy. He just seemed to fall for Anna like so quickly. But he calls, I don't know what you call it in America, but he calls like an operator to try and get a phone number of Anna's. And bear in mind, like I wrote down here, page 19, like this is page 19 of the story. He's only ever really seen her, he's never really talked to her, and he is getting her number. But then the operator says, we're not supposed to give that out, sir. And then Corey says, come on, I promise I won't tell anybody. Corey laughed. Surprisingly, the operator laughed too. I guess it's okay, it's my last night anyway. It's 444 Fiesta Street. And, like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would the operator firstly be, like, not allowed to give out that personal information of where somebody lives, to then say, you know, as a laugh because it's their last night on the job, to give it out? Like, that... What? Like, I know Shadyside is very weird. It is a weird place, and I do get that from this book. It's a very weird atmosphere. What I do actually love about this book is that it tells you stories about, you know, little things that have happened on Fiesta Street in Shadyside. Like, for instance, there was a head-on car collision where 6 people got injured, and then suddenly they disappeared, and all that was left was blood in the car and on the sidewalk, but nobody has any idea where those 6 people went. Like, things like that I'm so intrigued by, and I'd love to know more about. But the problem with this book, and I think probably with all of the Fiesta Street books, is that when you know too much, all suspense is eliminated straight away. Which I guess is right for anything really, but it's the execution. A lot of it is the execution. Like, I didn't think the way the story unfolded was all that great. I kind of went off on a tangent there because I was talking about Corey. Corey, I wasn't the biggest fan of. He was very cringe. I mean, again, like, he's 16, so I can kind of allow that. Like, I need to overlook that because I think a lot of the protagonists in Fiesta Street are teens, so I'm going to have to try and overlook that. But he was still weird and creepy, and I wasn't a fan. So this isn't really a spoiler or anything because it's the stupidest cliffhanger, because it has the stupidest resolution, but a huge thing that R.L. Stine does, even in the Goosebumps books, is end chapters on cliffhangers. And there was a cliffhanger where Brad, who is Anna's brother, drags Corey into the house and he says, I'm going to get rid of you once and for all. And then the chapter ends and it's like, ooh, this is exciting. And then a couple of paragraphs into the next chapter, Brad is like, I'm letting you go. And that's about it. Like, he just lets him go. Like, that's the resolution of that cliffhanger. Like, R.L. Stine frustrates me a lot because a lot of the cliffhangers are fake cliffhangers, and I know from experience reading the Goosebumps books, like, they are half the time ridiculous. A character will get jumped on or something, and then it turns out to just be a friend playing a prank, and he does that time and time and time again. That one in particular was stupid. And Brad's like, get out of here, I'm letting you go, but don't ever come back. And, like, just the dialogue, like, I'm letting you go. There was this big tense scene where he drags him into the house, and he's just like, I'm letting you go, but he actually explicitly says, I'm letting you go. The dialogue just comes off far too weird for me. So let's talk spoilers then, because there's a huge twist in it that I didn't say part of it coming, but anyway, spoilers. 3, 2, 1, you've been warned. Okay, so Anna is dead, right? Well, it turns out that Anna is actually Anna's sister, Willa, and Willa pushed Anna to her death at the very start. So yes, Anna is dead, but the person that we've been interacting with and the person who has been interacting with Corey and the characters is Willa. Okay, that is a good twist, fair enough, but one thing that doesn't make sense is that Anna's death was reported in the newspaper, right? It has a photo of Anna, and Corey sees this newspaper. So why didn't Corey recognize that Anna in the newspaper is not the Anna he's been, well, kissing and talking to? Because Willa does not look like Anna. She doesn't. In fact, one of the reasons why Willa kills Anna is because she was jealous that Anna was more beautiful than her and got more attention than her. So Willa obviously does not look like Anna at all. So when Corey sees the newspaper with Anna's photo in, the real Anna's photo in, saying that she was dead, why didn't he say anything? What? The whole newspaper thing? It doesn't make sense. Like, that is a huge plot hole in my opinion. It might not be. There might be an explanation for that. But Willa does not look like Anna. So, what? How has she been posing as Anna this entire time if she doesn't look like her? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I like the twist, but the whole newspaper part of it, with Corey having seen an actual photo of Anna, the real Anna, how did that slip through the cracks? Like, what? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, but I'm a little bit tired, I'm not gonna lie, so maybe I'm just overseeing things, or I'm putting things that aren't there, I don't know. But make it make sense, please. If you've read this book and you understand it, please let me know in the comments, because I don't understand. One passed through me though, and that was the body of a cat. There is a horrible scene where Lisa opens her locker and there is a cat that has been killed, and it's rather graphic, and that part through me. So if you're going to read Fear Street, or at least this collection, please do know that there is an animal death. I didn't know it was coming, and it was a little bit upsetting when I read it, so go into it knowing that, you should be fine. But other than all of that, like, I've got no issues with the book. It's a little bit dated, but of course it got released in 1989, that's when it was written. But it has all the cheesy teen dialogue in it, and some of the logic is not there. But I do enjoy the setting. I do like the eeriness of Shady Side and the potential of the series as well. Like, I haven't read a nice little short anthology-like kind of series in a while. Like, I like the format. I like the format of it being a condensed story, and the whole Fear Street, Shady Side setting is one that I feel is very atmospheric and one that I'm gonna enjoy. Like, I did like The New Girl, didn't love it, and I'll settle with maybe a 2 or a 3-star rating. I need to think on it more because I'm unsure. I'm so unsure. But that means that I will take a break from reading and I will watch one of the Netflix Fear Street films. Which one is the one I need to start with? Is it the 1994 one? There was a mention about Fear Street being cursed, or there being a curse, and I think that is something that the films take and run with. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to start off with part 1, which is 1994. I'll watch that tonight. But yeah, good start, I think. I had a lot to say about that book, which is good, because I was worried that with it being a shorter book than I usually read, that I wouldn't have an awful lot to say. Yes, I want to watch this film now. I just want to put my feet up, get some popcorn. I've got some Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream in the freezer. I might pull that out as well. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I'm excited to watch this film now. So I'm just slightly scared now. Love that I live alone. I mean, I really enjoyed Fear Street Part 1, 1994, just from the opening with that really cool sequence in the mall. I could see kind of Scream, you know, when Drew Barrymore's character gets killed off in the opening. Like, that's what it felt like to me, and already I was like, I am loving these slasher vibes, these 90s slasher vibes, and I can see the influences there, and it was fab. And yeah, we then get introduced to the main characters of the film, and I really liked them actually. I thought all of them were rather unique. Some of them were a little annoying at first, but I kind of got really used to them, and I was liking them more as the movie went on. I really enjoyed the storyline about the witch. And I love how there was like this curse on this town, Shady Side, and I could see that from the first book that I read, The New Girl. And this is not a comfortable position whatsoever. Like, I could see the influences of this town in the Fear Street adaptation. I mean, there's nothing alike to what I've read. But just, I think, the essence, which I think the filmmakers mentioned, that they got the spirit of the Fear Street books and put them in the film. So, I mean, I've only just watched the one film so far, and I've only read the one book of Fear Street so far. But yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Already I know that I'm gonna love the movies more than the actual books. I think, like, with the first book I read, I have a feeling this is gonna be a repetitive thing for this. Honestly, the side of my arse is numb now. So already I'm preferring the films, and I feel like if I had grown up on Fear Street, fair enough. But I was genuinely scared in the movie. I wasn't ever scared reading the book, but for the movie, I did feel rather scared. There was one particular death scene that was, oh my gosh, so gruesome, and oh my god, I'm thinking about it now. Oh, stop it. It's replayed in my head. Stop it. Stop it. It's now stuck with me. But yeah, just overall story. What was I talking about before I went off on a tangent again? Yeah, the storyline with the witch. I do believe, though, I think it's her name Sarah Fier. I do believe that in the first book I read in the Fear Street series, it mentioned something about a curse. So I think it is something that is a recurring theme in the Fear Street books. Could be totally wrong, but I do remember a curse being mentioned, so I feel like that's something that the film has kind of embellished a bit. And you have these repeated massacres and repeated instances of tragedies and things like that, and it seems like Sarah, this witch who was executed in the 1600s, is behind it. Yeah, I've just really enjoyed the movie. The vibe of it, the aesthetic, just everything was, to me, rather fantastic. Some of the performances, but a damn good time. So yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. I don't think I'm gonna sleep. I mean, saying that though, you'd think I was a newbie at horror. I'm not. I love horror films, but that was the first horror film I've watched since moving into this new house, and I'm by myself. So yeah, I'm gonna be really scared. I'm gonna be so scared. I might sleep with one light on tonight. Oh, this really was a bad place to sit. Okay, wish me luck. I'm surviving the night. I'm surviving the night. I'm manifesting it. I'm putting it out there. I'm surviving the night. I'm struggling to find anything remotely scary about these books. I mean, I'm thinking maybe it's because I'm pushing 30 now and I'm just not in the demographic for this book anymore. This was written quite some time ago and aimed at teenagers, so obviously I do not fit that bill. But I still think there's just so many kind of easy outs, if you know what I mean. Like, there's too many easy outs, and I don't know, I'm not really getting a thrill from any of it. So in the surprise party, we follow Meg, and her best friend from a year ago is coming back, and her best friend is Ellen, and she was the girlfriend of Evan, who was murdered in the woods, and Ellen's coming back for the first time in a year. And then Meg decides to throw a surprise party for Ellen, and there's somebody who doesn't want this surprise party to go ahead. Now, I thought just kind of overall it was a better book than The New Girl. It definitely made more sense, and it had a bit of a twist that I thought was pretty good. Not incredibly original or anything. It still had that same kind of, trying to pull the rug out from under you by having two kind of different people but looking the same but not kind of deal. I don't think that's a spoiler, and I'm sorry if it is. But overall, I just think the whole premise of the surprise party just isn't that exciting. And if you hear any kind of souls going on, I think the neighbours are doing something to the house. Or they're murdering one another, I don't know. And I kind of like the continuity in this as well. Obviously, we are still set in Shadyside High, and Corey and Lisa from the first book appear in this one. They're not the main characters, but they do appear in this one. And I thought that was a really nice touch. I mean, obviously, there will still be crossover for characters, especially if it's set in the same place. So that was a nice touch. I enjoyed that. Meg as a character, I wasn't the biggest fan of, only because she frustrated me. A lot of her motivations just did not make sense. And she would change her mind. Did I just do that? Like that. I mean, just for one example, I'm probably being really petty here, but Meg ends up getting a phone call telling her to not go ahead with this party, and that it'll have terrible consequences if she does. So then she, calls one of her best friends, Lisa, from the first book. She calls her and she gets annoyed at Lisa because Lisa doesn't take it seriously enough. Meg says, thanks, it's her monologue. She felt annoyed that Lisa wasn't taking it more seriously. Meg ends up calling Tony, is it Tony? Yeah, Tony, who is her boyfriend. And then Tony does take it seriously, and she gets annoyed at him for taking it seriously. Tony says, I don't know, Meg, whoever it was sounded pretty serious. And then Meg says, oh, come on, Tony, you think he meant it? Meg was now suddenly disappointed that Tony was taking this seriously. What? 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 You were annoyed at Lisa for not taking it seriously, and you're annoyed at Tony for taking it seriously. Meg, what the hell? I also think Meg is a terrible friend. So as I mentioned, Ellen hasn't been in Shady's side for a year. She has been reeling from the murder of her boyfriend, and so, you know, Meg wants to throw her a surprise party when she comes back. But this is where I think Meg is a terrible friend, because Meg ends up doing a suspect list of who would try to stop this party. So she puts Ellen on this list, which is fair enough. But one of the big reasons why Ellen is a suspect is because, and Meg has this explicitly stated, because Ellen never liked parties. So, you know, the best thing for Meg to do as a best friend is to throw a surprise party, which she knows full well that Ellen hates parties. She doesn't like parties. So she thinks the best thing to welcome her back after the murder of her boyfriend is to do something she hates. And then Meg won't let it go. She will not stop from planning this party. Like, she is adamant it's going to continue and happen, even with all of the scary stuff that happens. Scary stuff that happens to her and, well, her friends, her boyfriend, and like the threats that are being made. And she's just like, you know what, I'm scared, but I'm not scared enough to not do it. You know, like, my life's being threatened, but it doesn't matter because I'm still throwing this surprise party that Ellen's gonna hate because she doesn't like parties. Make it make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. Saying that though, I did say that this one makes more sense than the New Girl, but I'm just talking about plot. Like, plot-wise, it makes sense. But characters in, what's it called again, the surprise party, it just didn't make sense. I loved the Goosebumps series so much. Like, honestly, I did. And I'm scared because I'm going to try and reread all of them next month. All 62 original Goosebumps books anyway. And I'm scared because they were my childhood. What if I reread them and I hate them because I think they're horribly written? Like, I'm not saying like this is horribly written, but there's just so many glaring character traits that just conflict with one another, and so many plot holes, and it just... I don't know. I'm not enjoying myself. To be fair, I kind of am a little bit, actually, not gonna lie. Like, I like being in the world. I like the really quick and easy reads that these books are. Like, it's great, but so far, none of them have been good to me, and none of them have been interesting enough. Like, both of them start with this prologue that kind of gives away the whole game, and you know what? The prologues are written pretty sinisterly, and it does set the scene, and they are pretty good for what they are, but it does just end up ruining the entire experience of reading the book, because you get some major clues, you kind of know who it is, and then all suspense and all tension is taken away from the rest of it because you're set up to know what happens from the prologue. I don't know if the next one, which is the overnight, is the exact same way. Oh, actually no, it's not, because I just opened it up and it starts on chapter 1, which means there's probably not going to be some kind of big giveaway in the prologue because there isn't a prologue. Again, ridiculous cliffhangers continue. There was one point where Meg returns home and she sees this shadowy figure that was never there before, and she's like, oh my god, what is this? And then it turns out to be flower pots that have always been there. And I'm just like, if that's a shadowy figure that's never been there before, then how were they flower pots that have been there the whole time? I don't get it. Like, I think... And I do love him as a writer. Like, honestly, he was a childhood icon to me. I just don't know why. I mean, I kind of do know why. But there's just so much forced tension and forced cliffhangers in this. And it takes away all the tension. It takes away all the suspense. I'm like Meg when somebody won't take her seriously, but when someone does take her seriously, I'm so frustrated. Anyway, I'm going to watch part 2, 1978. And it's 5:10 p.m, so it's not going to be pitch dark like it was last night watching the first film where I got pretty scared. So I'm glad I'm watching this when there's going to be some light, and hopefully I will enjoy that as much as I enjoyed part 1. I asked my friend who's watched all 3, and he said he really liked the first part and the third part, and he didn't really care for the second part. So I'm hoping I do. I'm kind of scared of camps and things set in the woods. Like, that does scare me quite a bit. So I think I might still enjoy. And then I've got a live show tonight that I hope I can read the overnight during. That would be good. So then I will be over halfway from this experiment, which is awesome. Even though I'm not enjoying the books that much so far, still, we're going. So I finished the second movie and I thought it was really, really good. My friend gave me a bad review and I don't know why. He said that the second movie was meh. And I don't think that second movie was meh. I really enjoy, well, I mean, it did have a bit of a slow start, but I'm not gonna lie, I can forgive that because I thought from maybe like the 30-minute mark, I wasn't paying attention to the time, but 30-minute, maybe 40-minute mark, when the massacre started happening, that was when it really started to pick up, and just from that moment on, it was like really exciting. It was mortifying half the time. Camps in general just scare the life out of me. Like, why would you purposefully camp in the middle of the woods? Like, even if there is loads of campmates and there wasn't really any adults, like, I think this is a thing in America, isn't it, where there aren't really adults, it's like teenage volunteers or something that looks after the camp, and I'm like, oh gosh, really? There was a story, I think the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders, I think it was. I found out about that for the first time last year, and honestly, it's a story that has stuck with me because I'm just terrified of what happened during that. That gets under my skin so much. So things set in camps and stuff, like, they just freak me the fuck out. So yeah, it was really good. Definitely progressed the story. Like, I am loving the story in the films. The books, not so much. But in the films, I just love this kind of linear storyline. Well, so far the two movies have been so different because it differs in time and stuff, but it all connects. So I'm really excited to watch the third and final part. Like, I think that'll have to be tomorrow because I'm going to read the overnight. Oh shit. I'm going to be doing some reading sprints tonight, so I'm looking forward to reading some of the overnight. Hopefully this will be the Fear Street book that makes me think, okay, like, I'm liking the series. Like, maybe this will be the one. Maybe the overnight will be the one where I'm thinking, okay, like, this is good. I might continue the series after reading this book. But so far, it hasn't been the best experience. Movies, definitely loving. Like, I love the vibe of it. I love how scary it can be, but also there's chaos, but it's also really fun to watch. And the characters so far have been so good in the movies. The characters in the books so far have been so frustrating and infuriating. Also, I really like the main character from Stranger Things. I can't remember her name. Was it Sadie? I think her name was Sadie in the Fear Street. Oh my god, why have I already forgotten? I think it's because everyone was too busy screaming. Oh, no, sorry, that is her actual actress name. So, yeah, Sadie Sink is the actress, but her name in this was Ziggy. I should have remembered that because it was on the wall, Ziggy is a witch bitch. I should have remembered that. But I really liked her, and I liked her relationship with her sister. I do like how these characters feel really real in the films, in all of the baggage that they have too. There were some really good side characters who I wasn't sure about to begin with, but then I did start to enjoy. Maybe I prefer it to part one? No, maybe I prefer part one. Oh, I don't know actually. I did really enjoy the whole camp segment. Like, I love movies with like chaos, and that whole segment was just chaos. Like, from the first killing up until the end, it was just chaos. So I really like that. But yeah, I don't know actually. I don't know how I'd rank the movies. Maybe at the end of this movie, I was gonna say maybe at the end of this movie. This video you're watching right now is a movie. Maybe at the end of this video I will rank the movies and I'll also rank the books. But so far it feels like the books will come bottom of that ranking. Really hoping the Outsider, no, not the Outsider, the Overnight pulls it around for me. Yeah, and I think we're over halfway now. Over halfway to our goal of finishing the books and the movies. Managed to finish the Overnight, and so far it's my favourite of the three I've read so far, and it gave me all of the I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of vibes, and that's one of my favourite horror movies, and I enjoyed the story a lot. It's still not perfect, and it's still not one that I would ever reread. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I don't really like or care for any of the characters, and I had the same issue with the first two books. Like, they just don't feel real to me. I don't know if maybe it's because of book length, or just the fact that, I don't know, like, they're just never portrayed in a way that makes me relate to them or kind of want them to survive. Like, I was hoping that it would be a bit more gorier and there would be a lot more action than there was, but it was still really interesting. So Della and her friends end up going to Fear Island on an overnight. They were supposed to go with their club leader, who is an adult, but he can't make it, so they end up going by themselves. While there, Della runs into this strange man in the woods and she accidentally kills him, and then, yeah, they end up going back home. They get like things sent in the post, and they think that they are being blackmailed, threatened by somebody who knows that Della killed this man. I really enjoyed that story. This came out well before I Know What You Did Last Summer. Can't really say that was inspired by it or anything, but I liked the whole vibe of it. And the island setting as well was very isolating, a little scary. Could have ramped that scare factor up, especially when they're camping after, you know, the murder. The tension could have been so much more palpable had R.L. Stine really utilised that island setting. But he doesn't really do that, and I'm a bit confused about why he didn't do that. He had the perfect opportunity of making it really scary with them camping on this island by themselves, but he just didn't do that. And I feel like none of these books have really shown great atmospheric writing. There is an atmosphere in this, and it's a little unsettling, and I know that Shady Side is not a very good place to live. It's very shady, but there's just no kind of description. It is more first person than anything else. It's not first person. I'm sure there's a name for it. It is third person, but like the narrator is constantly in the main character's head, and they're constantly asking questions and things like that. I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of writing for the series, because I feel like we're missing so many opportunities of things being like a lot more scary than they are, especially since there's so much repetition with a lot of the things that Della says and Della thinks. There's just so much repetition there. The unraveling of the mystery was fine. Like, it was okay, and it kept me interested throughout, but it wasn't something that I thought was groundbreaking. But again, this is a rather older book. I think this is like 31 years old now, something like that. I have to look at this as if it's not cliched because it came out a long time ago, but it's very hard to, as a modern reader, to read this and appreciate it when it came out, because I'm not connecting. I'm just not connecting. And that's a bit sad for me, because I do really think that I am missing something here. What's good about this one, because I think I'll give this story 3 stars, whereas I give the first 2 stars. What I kind of like about this one is that I didn't have to stop and write down all of the annoying stuff that the characters were doing. While they still did some pretty annoying stuff, I was more frustrated with the characters in the first 2 than in this one. So I guess that's why I'm giving it 3 stars rather than 2. The plot was more coherent. There wasn't any plot holes that I could detect. It was a lot more smooth than the previous 2, and a lot more interesting plot wise, kind of. 3 stars for the Overnighter. I keep wanting to call it the Outsider, but the Overnight. And then that leaves just missing the final book in this anthology, but also I also need to watch part 3 of Fiaschi 1666, and I'm so excited to watch the movie. That is what's keeping me going during this reading vlog. Like, I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I really did find the first 2 so campy and fun and like gory at the best times, and it keeps me so entertained. So I'm looking forward to diving back into it, but I don't think I'll be able to do that until tomorrow night, because it is, well, it's 11:30, like 11:30 p.m. now, and I do have work early in the morning, so I should be going to bed. I am still in some reading sprints, so once they end around midnight, I might see if I can go to sleep. I might try and start this. I'm not promising anything, but I do want to watch the film tomorrow night when I get home from work. So that's gonna be really exciting. So excited. So yeah, that was the Overnight. That's 3 books down, 1 to go, 2 movies down, 1 movie to go. And also I'm just trying to find different areas to film in the house, because when it's the same area, I feel like it'll be so boring for you guys. So I try and switch it up a bit. Hopefully you appreciate me scouting out areas of my house so that I can film and make it feel different to you guys. I hope you appreciate that. I'm so sad. I finished all 3 parts of Fiaschi now, and I was having such a fun time watching them. Like, if anybody has any recommendations like the Fiaschi movies, let me know, because I just had a really good time, and I'm just sad. I'm sad it's over. I really enjoyed part 3, 1666. It was good. I don't know if it's my favourite one out of the 3 though. I think it had that huge job of kind of wrapping things up, explaining things, answering questions and all of that. So it had that tough job to do, and I thought it did that brilliantly. Like, I really enjoyed the way it wrapped up. I enjoyed how things unfolded, and some of the twists were really good. But I think just in terms of sheer chaos and enjoyment, I think maybe the first two I thought were better, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to sit on this for a little bit because I enjoyed all three parts nearly equally, which is great because it feels like a true trilogy that belongs just as one long feature-length film. Really like the kind of Puritan 1660s setting. It felt very Salem, and Salem is one of my favourite TV shows. I really like the set pieces. It's just like the culmination of it, and like character-wise as well. It was nice to see like some familiar faces from the first two parts be brought into it and seeing all of that kind of unfold. I love it. One thing that infuriates me, and this is to do with like men, I bet you half the time, maybe not even half the time, like 90% of the time, the women who were accused of witchcraft were accused by men who they turned down. So we have these really egotistical, disgusting men playing with women's lives and accusing them of witchcraft because they turned them down. And it just infuriates me. Just saying that in the, Fear Street last part, it just, again, it would just be like, oh God, like, furious. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It didn't really have the big death sequences or anything like the first two movies had. It just felt like a totally different thing, which was great because the second part felt really different to the first part as well. It just, oh my God, the movies were just so good, okay? They were so good. They were a frolicking good time. So I finished work, watched that, and I've been in the shower now, so I feel nice and refreshed. So now it is time to read the final part in Fear Street, Missing. And I think it's about two siblings who, it says they come home to find their parents have disappeared, plunging them into a nightmare of chaos that neither of them could have predicted. Sounds good. Hopefully it's the best one in the collection. The third story, The Overnight, has been my favourite so far, in like the broadest sense, because none of them have been a favourite, like at all. But it was the best one of the three so far. So hopefully Missing can make me feel something for this book series. So yeah, I'm going to go do that and catch you in the next update. Finished the fourth and final part in this collection, Missing. It was missing a lot, not gonna lie, it was missing a lot. However, it is probably stronger than the first two books in this collection. I think the third one, The Overnight, might still be my favourite of this, the first four books, but it by no means was terrible. I'm gonna give it maybe 2.5 stars. So starting from the beginning, I can't remember if I told you what this one was about, but it is about a brother and sister who find their parents missing. They come home one day and the parents are gone, and Roger, who is their like distant cousin, is staying with them, and he's a little bit weird, but they're like, what happened to their parents? Like, where did they go? So I really enjoyed the concept of it. Like, it is quite a scary thought, but like the main characters are just a little bit random and weird. They'll just go off on a tangent, or they'll just think about random things as their parents are missing. And then they'll be like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking about this at the time when my parents are missing. Like, yeah, you bloody shouldn't. Cara was also perving on her brother, and then her distant cousin later on. Like, she was really into her incest. This is how she describes her own brother. Mark is just a straightforward guy. I mean, what you see is what you get. Sure, he looks like a jock with those broad shoulders and the big neck, the blonde wavy hair, and those green eyes, the cute dimple in his chin that he hates to be teased about, but he isn't dumb or anything. He just trusts people. And just like, that cute dimple in his chin, it's just like, every single way anybody is described in this book, especially if they're a guy, is jock. That is just something that is just constant in this collection. I don't know if maybe the other Fear Street books continue the exact same thing, but they're just constantly described as jocks. They all look like jocks. So when she pervs on her cousin, this is what she says about Roger, and she does specify he is a relative after all, and since we move around so much, we're kind of lonely for relatives. But Roger is hard to get to know. He's so quiet. Oh, hang on. He's so quiet. He's the shyest person I ever met, I think. He's really handsome. He has sandy brown hair and dark, intense eyes. He looks just like a model in a magazine, but I don't think he has any idea how good looking he is. He's just so shy. And just like, I totally get that she is wanting to describe how her brother and her distant relative looks, but does she have to use the words cute, good looking, and just the way she described her brother and cousin, it was weird. Probably a little bit nitpicky from me, but it's fine. There's also another animal death in this, but you actually see the animal die, and it's actually really harrowing. Whereas in the first, was it the first book or the second book, where there was a cat death, but you didn't see the cat die. It was just, you saw things. But for this one, you actually see the death. And it's just, oh my god, it's awful. So be wary of that when that happens if you read this collection. So we've established that I just don't like any of the characters that seem to crop up in these stories. It's fine. It got really repetitive in the fourth book. So obviously I was firstly so intrigued by what happened to the parents, but just got so repetitive and boring and monotonous after a while. Like they kept going around in circles, which is fair enough. They obviously couldn't find their parents, but it felt so repetitive. And there was a really good moment actually when they go to their parents' work and then the main characters say, oh, our parents' name are such and such. And then the people who work there are like, oh, we've never ever had anybody called such and such work here. That was like, ooh, that's a little bit chilly. But then it just continued to go into this monotonous kind of loop. And then finally, like everything was crammed into the last couple of chapters where loads of things happened. And because it was crammed in there, the climax lasted like less than a page. And the climax and the twist and what happens at the end is the best part of it as well. Well, I mean, it could have been the best part of it, to be honest. It let itself down by not going more in depth with it. There was like this really cool concept and it blew through it. And I'm like, why would you waste that potential on like literally half a page? Like, why? And it got so intense and, answers were getting told and it was making sense, which is something that I really enjoy. When I read these books, apart from in the first one, which does make sense, but in the rest of them, they've made sense. But then it just blew over and I was like, well, it's over now. Like, what? And not even in a good way, like it does wrap up, but it just wraps up far too quickly. So there is an actual proper death in this as well. With the Fear Street series, there's a lot of fake outs and a lot of misdirections and things, but there is an actual death and I was surprised and I was like, oh, okay. So that was really good. But other than that, there really wasn't that much that I enjoyed. I found myself wanting to skim this one more than any of the other ones. But it was still like one of the better ones in the collection because there wasn't glaring plot holes, there was an intriguing storyline, and it just felt pretty good, I guess. Yeah, that is missing. I don't know if there's anything else I want to say about it. It was there. And it ended the collection. It was the fourth book in the Fear Street series. It was alright. The entire collection was alright. If I had to give the whole thing a rating, it would be 2.5 stars because the first two stories do let it down and then stories 3 and 4 make up for it a little bit. But the movies, in my opinion, were much better, and if I was going to rank all of them now, okay, so the surprise party is going to come bottom, and then the New Girl will come 6th, and then Missing will come 5th. The Overnight will come 4th. And then, oh gosh, I don't know the movies. Oh no, like how am I supposed to rank the movies? They're definitely, like out of all of the movies and books, they're definitely my top 3. Oh gosh, I don't know. I would probably put, no, I don't want to say. This is harder than I thought. For the trilogy then, I think 3rd place will be Part 3, 1666. I think, yeah, that one's going to be, just because it was less fun than the first two because it focused more on answering a lot of questions, wrapping things up, which was great. Honestly, I did really enjoy Part 3, but I just think I had more fun with the other two. Oh my god, I'm rethinking things now. I don't know what I said earlier on in the vlog, but I think I'm gonna put Part 1, 1994 in 2nd place. And then Part 2, 1978 in 1st place, I think. Because I just feel like with 1978, it was a proper horror movie. Like, I got really scared during it, and it was the whole sequence that lasted so long in that film. Just from one moment on, it just was non-stop fear and terror and carnage. And that was really exciting to me, and it's really weird because my friend who had watched them first told me that was the worst part. Okay, yeah, I think that's my ranking. And I really did enjoy 1994. It was a great way to start it. And yeah, it was just a really fun time. So that was my vlog of reading the first 4 Fear Street books and watching the 3 Fear Street films on Netflix. Had such a blast. It was so fun. I'd go back to start and do it all again. Maybe not reread the books, but I would definitely rewatch the films. I had fun. I hope you guys did as well. Please leave a like if you did and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments comments down below if you've read the Fear Street books, if you've loved any, which one's your favourite Fear Street book, because maybe I'm missing something and I need to read the best Fear Street book to really understand and appreciate the books. And also, which one was your favourite movie if you watched it. And I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!